Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Alive with PBG. I am so honored to have a very, very special guest. If you don't recognize her, you will very soon. It is my wonderful cousin, but also an influencer and a leader in the plant-based community. It is Kassie, also known as the stay-at-home vegan. How are you doing today, Kassie?
I'm doing so good. So good. How are you, Gabe?
I am doing fantastic. Even better now that I'm on the phone with, I say all my cousins are my favorites, but one of my favorite cousins. And, here's the reason I have Kassie on. It's not just because she has a pretty face or because she is just this super mom who, can do everything. What I have her on here is because her platform is the stay-at-home vegan. Now, Kassie made a decision, and she'll get into kind of how long she's been doing this, but she made a decision that she was going to step down from her job and be a full-time stay-at-home mom. And around that time, I believe, there may be a little bit of a time lapse there, but around that time, she made the decision to become vegan, to start eating a plant-based diet. And so she has been what 30, 40, 50% of the world with these stay-at-home orders and these, forced lockdown, all this stuff, people losing their job, 30 million unemployed, right now, if you are in the modern world, there's more than likely one person or two people in your family are now stay at home. And if you're watching this, hopefully you're stay-at-home vegan. And so Kassie is going to go through, and I'm going to ask her a few questions, and hopefully it's just going to be some helpful, pertinent information to you who have now found yourself at home with kids, eating a plant-based diet, probably pulling your hair out by this point. Hopefully not, but possibly. We all kind of are trying to figure all this out. So Kassie, when did you make the switch to be a stay-at-home parent? What made you do that? And then also, when did the transition to plant-based diet go into that?
So it was just over a year and a half ago. My husband has to travel a lot for work, and we're super fortunate that we could make the choice for me to stay at home. And the kids just were not thriving, I guess, being at babysitters while I was at work. And we just decided, you know what, they're clearly needing some more personal attention from us. We can do it. Why not have me at home? And it was the greatest decision. That was 2 Septembers ago. And the kids, it was a couple weeks later, they were themselves again, and everyone was just seeming to be living their best lives up until that point. And so I had been staying home for a month and a half, or almost about 2 months, when our grandfather PC was starting to have his health decline and was losing a bunch of weight. And that's when his cancer diagnosis came, was a few months after I decided to stay at home. So that was then what propelled me towards veganism and eating whole food plant-based. And it was a real harsh wake-up call, but one that I think I needed. And here we are, over a year and a half later, and healthier than ever, happier than ever. And
Kassie, I forgot to mention that fact, right? Kassie did. It just happened. Everything worked out in perfect timing, really, where Kassie was able to become a real full-time style of caregiver. And for our grandfather, around the time when she was also being the full-time caregiver for the children. And so not the full-time caregiver, but the stay-at-home, right? She has a husband, who does a lot, I'm sure.
Who is absolutely incredible.
Yes. We don't want that to be lost in any of this. But around that time, right, she made those changes. But Kassie, what did the past year and a half, right? You've been stay-at-home, you've been caregiving, you've been eating a plant-based diet. What's happened with your health? Have you lost some weight? Have you seen some changes in your health and your family's health?
Have I? Well, I've lost 40 pounds. And my second pregnancy, it's not that I gained a lot of weight. I gained like 30 pounds. It wasn't anything crazy. And I'm 6'2". So I kind of, I could carry extra weight and it not seem like I was unhealthy. But after I had my son, I started working out again, not really seeing any results. I'm still 200 plus pounds. What is going on? And, my joints are hurting, whatever. I had a baby, stuff happens. But weird. I cut out all animal products and, start eating healthier than ever. And I dropped 10 pounds, I dropped 20 pounds, and my joints stop hurting. My skin is crystal clear. My mindset is so much clearer. It's just incredible. Like, I didn't expect, like, weight loss was at the very bottom of my list of whys of why I did it. But it was the first thing that was like an immediate thing that happened for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty amazing. Not that Kassie was overweight. She's just Kassie was a very successful basketball player and has an athletic build. And but as you lost the weight, your face slimmed down. It's just like, wow, you looked healthy before, but now it's just you really your health was
Right.
shining through. And I think that's a common theme for many people adopting a plant-based diet. And I know weight comes slower for others and comes off faster for others. But in general, we see over time, if you're eating a healthy, whole food, plant-based diet, that weight's going to come off, your face is going to slim down, and you really just start to see that plant-based or vegan glow, as some people
Right.
call it. And it's not jaundice that others people would be like, oh, that's why. No, what it is, it's we're not talking about any ill health effects. Those are the people that don't want you to be eating the healthy plant-based diet. But here's what we're gonna here's the first question that I have for you, Kassie. I found myself as a stay-at-home parent not out of want, maybe you wanted to do it, but now out of necessity.
Hmm.
Um, what does mealtime look like? What does mealtime look like for you? How can I get my kids involved? Let us know the ages of your kids, just so that we kind of have an idea of what you're working with. And it's not like you have a 13, 14, and 15-year-old that's like sous chefs in the kitchen, right? Let us know what that looks like. What does mealtime look like? Because that's a big question we're getting about from a lot of parents who are now stay-at-home vegans.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have a 13-year-old stepson. His name is Jake. He is absolutely incredible. My second least picky eater in the house, so it is so easy feeding him. I have a 5-year-old daughter named Corey. She is very, very strong-willed, very, very set in her ways. So she needs some of the meat alternatives, because she wants what she wants, and she has been a little bit more difficult to transition to a vegan lifestyle. But then there's my little baby Shay boy. He is 2 now. But we started this journey when he was 1, and he eats anything and everything you set in front of him, which, it's all vegan or whole food plant based,
Sure.
the majority of the time. And he eats everything. So I can personally attest to, the younger that you start it, the easier it is. And yeah, you want to talk about sous chefs? We make, for breakfast, we always have some sort of starch, like whole wheat pancakes, whole wheat waffles, and we always add in flaxseed instead of eggs. We do flaxseed eggs. So they're really getting a lot of good nutrition there, and we always have fruit. A lot of the time, we'll have a smoothie, and then that's how you get some greens in there too, because kids won't just sit down and eat a kale salad with you. Um,
And you like to bring the kids into that, like the smoothie
yeah,
time, especially. I mean, I find that I see a lot of families with smoothie time. It's like you get the kids to put in their favorite fruit. And what does that look like for you?
exactly. Yep. No, we all have our personal favorite combination. But the kids, I have to like fight with them over like the frozen blueberries. I'm like, guys, please, like, can we save some for the smoothie? And they have completely blue and purple hands and blue faces by the time like the smoothies are made. But no, they get to throw in their favorite ingredients. Corey can't get enough strawberries shoved in the Ninja blender. So yeah, no, they are involved in everything. Yes, flour gets puffed up on to the counter just about every breakfast, but it's really not that hard to take a wash rag and just wipe that up because the kids wanted to help stir it. So why not let them be involved? Because it's their food, and it's more fun when you're involved in the process and they're learning how to cook and learning to love how to make these healthy things.
That's perfect. No, I mean, there's no, I think I don't know, I can't speak for you, but for me, it was like dinner time growing up, to a certain age, but dinner time growing up was always like, mom had, worked hard in the kitchen, and then, dad was either came home from work or was doing something. And then they both tried to force whatever was at the dinner table down our throats. Right? It was like a fight. because it was a foreign whatever that we didn't like, or, you know, it was like meatloaf or something that, you know,
Right.
something that you shouldn't be forcing down your kids' gullet
Right.
anyways.
Right.
But that's what it was. And it was just like a battle to get us to eat. Where now, I mean, I see your kids and everybody, we've got the, you know, and I see others. And of course, there's some things that kids aren't going to like, but in general, with a plant-based diet, right? We're looking at vegan foods we're not looking at the 4 dead brown things that you have to put on a plate, right? Or that that we believed that we had to put on a plate, right? Fish, chicken, beef, and pork. Now it's like we've got thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of different whole plant foods that if the kids can't find something that they enjoy out of those 100,000, right? They're probably not going to find anything, but they will. And these are the foods that they're supposed to be eating. And when they do find the ones that they like, it's amazing to see. And I mean, I see it with your kids. I mean, I see Shay, who, like you said, the earlier you start them, the better, which that's not the case. You know, we all start at different places. You're kind of the epitome of like here, and here of how people get started or who's starting it. But with Shay, it's amazing to see him. And if you're not following Kassie on Instagram right now or on Facebook at the Stay at Home Vegan or Stay at Home Vegan, you need to, because it's a great follow. But you see Shay, he's like just diving in on a lot of this food that I wouldn't have even known about when I was a kid. So it's just great to see that. And it's great to get them involved, because that is such an important factor in all of this. And you're probably something that you don't even have a choice of right now. If you're a forcibly stay-at-home vegan right now, your kids are around you. They're going to be involved. Make it fun. Make it enjoyable. So here, Kassie, now, so we've got the mealtime down, some easy recipes, some fun things for the kids. What does activity time look like? Because we can't just sit around the kitchen and make food all day, as much as we all would love to. We've got to be doing something else. And you've got some younger kids, and you have an older kid. So let's talk about, what does that look like? What's that balance look like of, let's just go run around outside and, you know, throw sticks and stones at each other, and let's do something maybe a little bit more structured indoors, sitting down. What does that look like?
Yeah. So I am really artsy fartsy. So we do a lot of like handprint crafts, footprint crafts for the little ones, and lots of painting. All that toilet paper that everyone had to have, we saved the toilet paper rolls and the kids use those as paintbrushes. And so we made daisies with them, or like we folded and made tulips, or we folded them into letters to like, so they could stamp their names. And so those are a lot of the indoor things that we do. Just a whole bunch of, I mean, those paints are, you know, 50 cents, and just get a whole bunch of colors and let the kids just go wild for a half an hour. And that's one of their favorite things to do inside, you know, just put down a, you know, newspaper or whatever, and they just make everything a mess and pull it all up and you're good. But then we really have a hard time keeping them inside. So we are very, very fortunate that we don't have to like kick our kids out of the house. They're like begging us, can we go outside now? We're like, can we finish the dishes in 5 minutes and then go outside? So they love, oh my goodness, they just take laps around our house. They are all about riding bikes. So we actually got a tag along for our daughter. And then we have like a bucket seat on the back of my bike for the 2-year-old. And we've been going on bike ride after bike ride all over, you know, halfway across Fort Wayne. You know, the kids they just want to be outside. They want to be doing something. And that's something that then our teenage son can do too. He, you know, hops on his bike and just goes with us. Or I mean, we just sit, you know, in the driveway as a family and, you know, just let the kids chalk, or, you know, just let them run around and be crazy and be kids, because that's really what they need right now. So
yeah, I mean, we look at the factors in all of this, and in any time, you know, you could be watching this in 10 years, or you're watching this 10 years previously if you have that capability somehow. But however, wherever we're at, you know, if we're looking at peak health and we're looking at growing healthy children, ladies and gentlemen, just feeding them the right food and then sitting them in front of a television to play video games for 12 hours a day. I don't care if it's in the middle of a pandemic or if it's in the middle of the best times we've ever seen, right? You're not going to be creating or raising or producing or living with healthy children, healthy adolescents, healthy anything. And so what I see Kassie doing with her husband and her children is getting outside as much as possible. It's to say, And it's not like it's just all rainbows and daisies right there in Indiana in early spring, right?
Right.
We're not talking about 75 degrees, sunny, and no wind, or no breeze, or a little bit of breeze, no humidity. We're talking about
And
colder weather, strapping on the coats, kind of bundling up, getting outside. But hey, with kids, doesn't matter. It's kind of the parents who kind of create it's kind of cold out. I don't know if today is going to be the good time to go out.
right.
And so in any weather, getting outside, getting that vitamin D, getting that exercise is extremely important. And Kassie, you guys are really, really leading the way on that. And that's, it's an inspiration to see. I keep telling Bridget, I'm like, get up, put a coat on, get on the bike, let's go. And she just won't do it. It's unbelievable. I've got a perfectly healthy 3-month-old that just can't take directions, I guess.
I know.
And
They'll get there in the next month or two.
I know. I don't think I'm asking that much. But so we have the meal, we have the activities. Now what are some applicable tips, right? You've been doing this for a year and a half. You're kind of like you've been doing it great. Your kids haven't become delinquents. They haven't run away. You haven't pulled, you're not bald. You haven't pulled all your hair out. Your marriage seems good. You're kind of seem to be doing it good. Seem to be doing it right. What are some tips, some applicable things that those who are now stay-at-home parents, stay-at-home vegans can take, whether that's a simple recipe, whether that's another simple activity, whether that's just some mindset that you might have to do, or some alone time, how you're finding that? I mean, those are questions that I'm sure a lot of people have. And take the next few minutes and just enlighten us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one thing that is super important is to know your whys. Why are you doing this? I read a bunch of books in the beginning, and one common denominator was they said, know your whys. And I want to live not just a long life, but I want to live a healthy life. I don't want my children having to take care of me for 30 years. I want to be super involved with my grandkids, great grandkids, and I want to set the example for my children and their children to see what a healthy life eating whole foods can do for you. So that was, top of my list why, and then, creating that longevity and preventing disease, because our family, our health history it really, really like broke me seeing 75% of our grandparents and great grandparents had cancer. And if they survived cancer, they probably passed away of heart disease. And, it just breaks my heart thinking, how can I prevent that? And, eating all the plants you can get is, definitely a way to start. And so that's huge whys for myself personally. And then making sure that I know a lot of people have always said, don't cater to what your kids eat, whatever they want. No, absolutely. If they have a favorite vegetable, give it to them every day at dinner. My daughter and I share a bag of broccoli all the time, or she loves broccoli, green beans, corn. You got to make sure that they have something that they're going to enjoy. It's not you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Not with me. I'm not going to fight with my kids 3 meals a day. I make sure that they have their top 2 favorite fruits at breakfast and lunch, and that they have a favorite veggie at, lunch and dinner. And that is something that I have found mealtime is so much easier when I make sure that they have something they love rather than just cooking. I don't want to be forced to eat something that I don't want. And kids are the same way. They don't like everything that I do. I'd say I don't like some stuff, but I haven't really found a plant that I don't like yet. So I'll keep you posted, but I don't foresee it happening. So that has really made mealtime so enjoyable. If they see, 3 things on their plate that they absolutely love, and then 1 thing that they have to take a couple bites out of, and, there's no fighting. They know they have to try, the main dish that I make, they have to try the lentil loaf, which don't worry, Shay and I fight over the lentil loaf. Corey has to try 2 or 3 bites. But that has been a huge game changer for us, making sure they have something that they like to eat. Cause I cook what I like to eat. So,
Sure.
And I love, I've really taken what you said to heart about simple starchy staples. And that is something that like I always kind of think about, like, okay, you know, we could have a potato with this meal, or, you know, some whole wheat pasta or some rice, or you know, some beans, you know, something, just a simple base, and then add tons of fresh veggies to that meal. And that's something that I've found, you know, to keep it well rounded, and I always keep that in the back of my mind. So yeah.
No, that's perfect, Kassie. And you know, guys, these are tough times. I mean, whether or not you're stay at home, whether you still have your job or you're working from home, or you know, it's tough times for everyone. And a lot of people's lives have changed dramatically. I would say our lives, Kassie, probably haven't changed, at least in the past, you know, few months, probably haven't changed that much. But that's more so we've kind of, it's just the lives that we've decided to live, right? It's just that's the case there. But we feel for you. And you know, if you've lost your job, or you're now, you know, taking here's who I'm really you know, everybody's in a tough spot. But you talk about single parents who are working in an essential business that now have 2 kids at home and they're working. I mean, it's a crazy time, and there's not necessarily the right answer, but hopefully what we can offer and what's being presented is the right steps, or a few good tips or habits or techniques in doing all of this staying at home with kids, with family, with eating a plant-based diet, that are applicable, that people can take with them, because it is tough, and we feel for you. And if you haven't heard it already, I love you, and I'm thinking about you, and we're sending warm thoughts. I mean, it's a tough time, but here's the deal. There are tough times. This is one of them. You have to make a decision whether or not your family falls apart, crumbles, and your health goes to the wayside and crumbles, and you go back to feeding your kids, or you continue feeding your kids and your family and your loved ones junk that's feeding disease, that is maybe feels nice right now, but you're not thinking about 5-10 years down the line when you become the full-time caregiver for your loved ones because of their past bad diet, because of their past decisions. And so now, really more than ever, and probably at any point in time more than ever, you need to be making the decision as a parent, as a family member, as a loved one, whether you're staying at home or not, is that I'm going to be feeding my family healthy, whole plant foods, because when we get out of this and when we go down the line, I don't want this to be the time where I say, man, I can't believe I let all that was going on around me affect the fact that I started feeding my kids junk again, or that I started eating junk again. And you start looking back on this time as an even worse time than it already is. We should be looking back on it as saying, wow, we got through it. We were just as healthy. We got healthier. We became stronger as a family. That's what you should be aiming for. That's what I'm hoping is the case in your family. That's what we're working for. And I know that's what you're working for. Kassie, the stay-at-home vegan. Where can we find you at, Kassie?
Instagram, Facebook, the stay-at-home vegan.
The stay-at-home vegan. If you'll see her, I share a lot of her posts. She shares a lot of my posts on Instagram. I'm always commenting on her stuff, not because I just feel an obligation to, but more so because it's amazing. It's like some of the best stuff you can find online. It's upbeat, positive, informative, and easy to do. And that's what we all need right now. And that's what Kassie and myself are hopefully bringing to the table. So for today's Alive with PBG, I hope you've enjoyed it. Kassie, thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you, Gabe.
And coming on.
Thank you.
And so we're thinking about you. Love you. If you haven't heard already, I do love you. And I'll see you in another picture, post, video, interview, chat very soon.